Hello, it's Ben Gillette, and this is my video for CS481 Research Paper 2. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about image forensics. The paper I researched was titled Adversarial Attack on Deep Learning-Based Splice Localization. So I'll explain a little bit about image forensics and what this paper discovered. Okay, I'll start out by describing a little bit about what image forensics actually is. So in forensic investigations, images are becoming more and more frequent when they turn up. And it raises a lot of questions. Before, the internet and cell phone cameras were so popular, it was less common to have images turn up with this frequency in your investigations. But today, so many of these investigations have to deal with images, entire hard drives filled with images or pictures of the suspect or satellite imagery and all these pictures. And forensics on images is getting more and more difficult because it's no longer safe to assume that an image is authentic. You have to prove that, and that isn't as easy as you might think. Because you can edit them, and deep learning image recognition and generation and editing tools are becoming more and more powerful and easy to access. So one problem you run into are fake images, images that were designed to represent something or mislead whoever's looking at them, but they don't actually exist. There's several different types of them, but here are two I'll talk about. The first kind are images that were generated with deep learning. Usually they involve these cool neural networks called generative adversarial networks. NVIDIA and some other researchers did a really cool project called This Person Does Not Exist. They also did it with art and cats and a few others. But the picture of the woman I have here, she's not a real person. A computer generated this picture based on other people. So undoubtedly there are people in the world who look like her, but this actual image is not of a real person and was not taken with the camera. And then the second variety are computer renderings. So this mug I have here in the lower left, this is not a real picture, and it's probably more obvious because it looks pretty bad. But still, it's not the worst digital art in the world, and considering somebody who's not a digital artist can, whip up a mug that looks, only a little bit bad, maybe it looks really bad, I don't know, is indicative that there's more to be done with this than you might originally think. Another sort of images are spliced images, and that's when you have an original image and maybe even a second original image that are superimposed on one another to mislead the viewer into thinking it's something other than what it is. So I have here a picture of my car, and then it's not my car, and a picture of a flat tire spliced on top of it. And I know I did a really bad job, but with better image editing software and other machine learning, deep learning tools out there, some of these splices can be incredibly convincing, and they can be used for much more malicious purposes than making people think your car has a flat tire. So there's tools out there that use deep learning to combat this sort of thing. The paper I'm looking at was written, and it describes some of how these tools work, particularly for spliced images, and then what some of their weak points are. So I have here an image that was actually taken directly from the paper, and I've given credit and linked it there. And it's a picture of some people in front of what looks like a river, and it turns out the two people in the center of the image, or closer to the center, were taken in the original picture, but the person on the leftmost edge was not. And they show us that with this truth mask in the second frame. And then the three heat maps following are three different algorithms' attempts at identifying which parts of the image had been spliced. It's kind of hard to see because it's a low resolution image, but it doesn't look that bad. It's pretty convincing. Whereas the deep learning algorithms are showing us that, hey, that person on the left was probably not there. What the heat map sort of represents is the probability represented through color temperature that pixel in the image is not authentic. So that's how these things work. The cool forensics part of this comes in where the algorithm can actually be fooled. So if you add noise to the image in a way that sort of mimics the noise that was already there, the computer algorithms completely fail. to pick up the parts of the image that were actually spliced in, and that's a big vulnerability and a big deal because now we don't actually have a good way of detecting whether or not an image is spliced in this particular way. Of course, we're going to continue researching it, but this is what they just came up with really quite recently. So yeah, that's all on image forensics. Thanks for watching and have a good one.